Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Gate 7 International. I will be your host for the night. I'm Kostas Llanos, Kostas with a K. You might have seen me around here at the podcast quite a few times. You might have seen me thanks to my work at the Sun. You never know. I had to throw that out. First of all, I'm going to ask you to kindly confirm if you can hear me well, because I got a new mic. I finally bought a new microphone, an actual podcast mic. So, if any one of you could please confirm that they can hear me loud and clear, that would be incredible in the comments section. And just as I thought that I was going to present this show on my own, I actually, I'm actually going to have some help here, and well, it's one of the best people you could have in this show. It's the one and only Aris Bulubasis. Ari, how are you, my friend?
What is up, Costa? What's up, everybody? Sorry for the late show tonight. Schedules unfortunately didn't align how we normally would like, but we're getting the content to you however we can, whenever we can. And I was able to make it. I do apologize. My son is not feeling too well. He had a fever, so I've been dealing with that all day. And it's
Everything okay,
one
I
of the
suppose?
yeah, he's good, man. It's just one of those things. But I'm here. The situation has been settled. So love to talk Olympiacos, maybe some ethnic Yomala, whatever comes our way.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to absolutely discuss right now, and I'm so glad you're here, Ari. I mean, as you know, guys, I mean, I finished work almost half an hour ago. Aris and Costas with the C are dads. Marcial is out there looking for frauds, and well, Labros is. It's been a tough few weeks for Labros right now because, well, the thing about Olympiacos is that some of us became Olympiacos fans because of this one player. Like I became an Olympiacos fan because of Giovanni. And once in a blue moon, there's going to be a player that comes to the team that you just can't help yourself but fall in love, with this player. Not that way, as the way he inspires you on the pitch and off it. So Labros, well, things have been tough for him because one of his favorite players, Ramon, has left the club. We have tried to calm him down by explaining to him that it's only a season-long loan. So we're going to see him next season, I suppose. Maybe Ortega will be sold. Maybe Richards might he will return to Nottingham Forest. But it's been a bit tough, and I would urge you guys to show your love for Labros on social media. Explain to him it's only a season-long loan, and Ramon could be back, and he could be back better than ever. So if you could please reach out, that'd be very, very, very helpful, guys.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And guys, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to smash that button, like and subscribe. Costa, if you already did the shout out, I do apologize. Don't
I
forget
did
to
not. You were very quick.
oh, fantastic.
You were very
Fantastic.
prompt.
Do it, guys, because the engagements help us grow the channel. This is how we find more red and white fans. This is also how we convert fans to the red and white. They see the content, they see the club, they see everybody having a good time. They want to be a part of it. So, like, subscribe. Let's get moving. Let's grow this community. And then don't forget Patreon. You can support us on Patreon for everybody that wants to, everybody that a lot of you had messaged us before we started saying that you wanted to support, but we didn't want to accept that until we had something to give back. And we do have something to give to you now for that support if you feel so inclined to do so. There's some fun stuff coming up. Early access, obviously, to scouting reports you get if you're a member of Patreon in the expanded content tier. Additionally, we have some special interviews that are outside of the realm of Olympiacos. One is going to be recorded tomorrow. We are interviewing the ex-president of Huracan in Argentina, the club we bought Santiago Esse from. So we could end up with some tidbits about Esse. We could end up with some tidbits about that deal. But we are definitely going to learn about what it's like to be the president of a club. We're going to get some great insight, and we're excited to do that. That's just one interview to get us started with Patreon. Plus, you get enhanced analysis if you're an expanded content tier patron or above. So support us on Patreon, get extra content. and check that out. Easy way to support and help us reach the next level for Gate 7 International. Costa.
And we have some very important shout outs.
Yes, that's right. Yes, we do. Thank you for reminding me, Costa. We have 3 new patrons for the show. Thank you guys for your support. We have Kostas Yanulis, Dennis Vidi, and Johnny Zabukas. Those are our 3 newest patrons. Thank you for the support, and thank you for everyone that has been supporting us so far. Kevin Milaras, guys, where's Lambro? Is he okay? Guys, we already mentioned, with Ramon gone, Lambro is super upset. But no, in all seriously, guys, I think Lambro's moving back to the States now. So he's in transition. He's moving. So in the meantime, you might not see as much of him until he's settled. And then, he'll be back on the show. So we'll, everybody's life moves and the schedules can change. So we'll continue. Chris Oxford, we need a Olympiacos interview part 2. The first one was top notch. Well, Peter Olympiacos is a lot busier of a guy now. He is the VP/director of football at Galicia. He's running the show there. They're doing great stuff at that project. He kind of told us in that first interview that something big was coming, and that was it. So excited to see how he's doing. If we can get him back on the show, we 100% will.
1000%, man. Shall we get the Ethniki stuff out of the way and then concentrate with everyone's favorite red and white?
Of course. Well, as far as the Ethniki goes, Costa, we had 2 big matches. We had the unfortunate loss against the Netherlands. It was really just crushing. And it sucked because, Poyet has been making a lot of these weird decisions with the roster, but he's winning, right? And as long as he was winning, those decisions were... what was the word we kept saying? You win. Everything you do is
you're proven right.
You're proven right, basically. And this was the case where it didn't work, and we knew it was coming. And he needed a big win against Gibraltar today to prove that things are still on track. And that's the one thing that you can give for Gus Poyet that was different at the very least from JVS and beforehand. The fact that we are beating the teams we should beat more often than not, way more often than not. It was comfortable. We put our chances away. It was nice to see some new faces. And great to see Masuras getting on the score sheet as well, continuing his incredible scoring form so far the last couple of weeks. So definitely happy about that.
You want to hear a crazy stat about Masuras?
Go for it.
In Greece's last 3 victories against Gibraltar away, against Ireland in Philadelphia and Gibraltar tonight, in all of the Ethniki's last 3 victories across all competitions, Masuras has scored. He has scored a total of 4 goals in those last 3 victories. It's insane. But you mentioned Gus Poyet's selections. Not just Gus Poyet, you look at John Van Schip before him. It's a joke, obviously, but it kind of is starting to look like Masuras is starting to play too well for the Ethniki, a little too well. He might want to slow down a bit, because, we saw Siovas killing it with the Ethniki, and then he was dropped because of that Kostas Manolas statement saying we need Manolas in the Ethniki. Then you have Kostas Fortounis, who Gus Poyet doesn't want him at all, because he doesn't play defense. That's the excuse, which makes you think that if Erling Haaland was Greek, if Kylian Mbappe was Greek, would he not pick him up because they don't play defense? Let me put it this way. Kostas Fortounis is the best Greek player, guys. Like it or not, he is the best Greek player right now. Tassos Bakasetas is a very talented player. He's a very good player, but in no way the best Greek player. I will agree that each manager have their own philosophy, their own ideas, but I can't understand the idea that you don't even want Kostas Fortounis on the bench just in case. You don't even want him as an impact player. Let me tell you something, guys. If Poyet brought in a player like Fortounis from the bench against the Netherlands, we could have gotten a goal. Yeah, we would have still lost, but even that one goal could have been important, because if Greece beat the Netherlands If they beat the Netherlands at Hagia Sophia 2-0, that goal would have been huge. It would have been it would have been priceless for Greece. So basically, now I had a chat with a very well-known Greek journalist regarding Poyet's selections. First of all, for whoever has been following my work outside of Gate 7 International with the Sun, know that I've interviewed Gus Poyet a couple of times. We had some really good chats about the Premier League and the Ethniki. He's very passionate about his job at the Ethniki. He's very passionate about getting us to the Euros, about getting success. He's here for the long haul. He's very serious about this. He's a really nice guy. I really like Gus Poyet. I respect him a lot. And I admire him as a footballer, as a manager, and as a player. But I also have to be square. I have to be real with all of you. I've spoken to a Greek journalist, very well-known Greek journalist, and he told me that obviously the Fortounis thing has to do with the defense. He doesn't defend. Obviously, he retired from the Ethniki, so there's not really much point talking about him regarding the Ethniki. But he did retire the same day that Gus Poyet announced his latest call-ups. That was the timing. Kostadelias was not picked up because of a disciplinary issue. And when it comes to Douvikas, he doesn't rate him. He simply doesn't rate Douvikas. I don't know what else he should have done last season other than finishing as the top scorer at the Eredivisie with the Utrecht. Now he plays for Celta. That's the same league in which Vangelis Pavlidis plays at with Alkmaar, by the way. He scored more goals than Pavlidis, lots more. He just doesn't rate him. He prefers the likes of Fotis Ioannidis, who scored less goals than Aitor last season, even though Aitor missed half of this season because of injury, and most of his goals were penalties. He just doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate Douvikas. We're not really going to see him. And you made some really good points about Pavlidis and Douvikas on the chat, didn't you, Ari?
Listen, a lot of things, and I find it hilarious because we do a lot of like what I call stat bombs on the Ethniki about things, and there always seems to be some comments after we bring up some things that don't make sense and we put data to there. We had a whole barrage of them with Fortounis back when he missed the first call-ups, and the timing was a little hilarious when the fingers were being pointed and the same stats we use were being cited, not just by journalists, by multiple other individuals about those things. And Poyet comes out right after and says, "Oh, it's the defense thing." So they know, they see it, and his justifications, the justifications for me are still, quite honestly with you, dog shit. It really is. The whole mess that with the Ethniki, the national team, the whole thing is, it's a bordello. It is. It's a bordello from top to bottom. The wins that the Ethniki gets are in spite of that, not because of it. So none of the conquest, none of the victories that happen are the result of anything Eppo has done. Now, Poyet, we all know who he is. He's very proud. He's going to do his thing. He has his favorites. That's it. 100%.
And he's a good manager. He is a good manager, though, Gus Poyet. I really believe in him.
He's better than JVS. Like, I accede to that. I disagree with a lot of the stuff he says. But, like, look, he won Nations League, which nobody's been able to do from the outset with Greece, right?
Huge.
And he has consistently beaten every team that we should be beating. That's
exactly.
It. So I give that to him, and that exonerates all the other nonsense as long as he keeps winning. Now, he doesn't win. We come in third place, and we don't make it through the playoffs. Now we ask questions. But, you know, it's too early to have that conversation, and we go from there. Ghost, I have one more data point for you to add on top of what you talked about with Masouras. So you said Masouras has 4 goals in 3 matches for the Ethniki.
Our three last victories. 4 goals, Yoros Masouras, yes.
So since August 31st, this is including Olympiacos in all competitions, since August 31st, Masouras has played 6 games for club and country. He has 6 goals in 6 games. So Masouras, since August 31st, in the last 11 days, has been on fire. So glad to see it. We need that, especially coming back from the international break.
Absolutely. A friend here, Paris Zaf. Something tells me the Zaf is Zafiriou, Zafiropoulos, something like that. What about Vagiannidis? Other European PAO matches, and he was something else. Yeah, absolutely. Vagiannidis as well was a major omission, better than Lazaros Rota, in my opinion. It's just baffling because I also checked Vangelis Pavlidis' stats with the Ethniki. Do you want to guess when was the last time Pavlidis scored for Ethniki?
2 years ago, a year ago.
A year ago against Cyprus. That's the
there you go.
6th of September, if I'm right. Is that the 6th of September or the 9th of June I'm looking at? Probably September, against Cyprus in the Nations League, 3-0 victory. And it looked like, if you watch the game, it did look like Poyet was a bit anxious for Pavlidis to score. Because the Greece were just destroying Gibraltar, and he wanted Pavlidis to get that goal, to break that cherry, break that streak, that goalless streak, and he couldn't get it. There is a bit of anxiousness about Pavlidis getting that score. Then you have Taxiarchis Foudas. What are the alternatives? Fotis Ioannidis, we said it, less goals than Aitor last season. Taxiarchis Foudas played for the MLS for how many years? And all due respect for all our American and Greek Americans that we have here, the MLS is dog shit, guys. It's not a good league. It's not a competitive league. It's just a step above the Saudi Arabian league, guys. I'm sorry. But you cannot be prioritizing Giacomakis and Foudas over Douvikas. It's insane. That is insane. I am very confused. I can't understand how Greece can beat the big teams like the Netherlands and France without those players with the Champions League pedigree, the Europa League pedigree, the European pedigree to do this. The players that know how to create something out of nothing, like you say, Adi. Greece don't have a single player that creates something out of nothing.
And that's the thing. You look on the Netherlands, and you're wondering where that's going to come from. You know, here we are, we're getting beaten like a drum. Second half, no changes, but then you look on the bench and you think, who can we throw on there that can actually make a difference? Who can do it? Nobody. There's no Fortuny there.
Yeah.
There's no Douvikas there. There's nobody else. There's nobody there. And another funny thing for me, and I brought this up, I was in a space with the after the match against Netherlands with the Hellas Footy guys, just talking about things. For midfield, you bring Bukhalakis, who hasn't played a game. He languished in Turkey for a while. He's now in second division Germany.
Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we go. Now he's injury prone. We know that. Galanopoulos has been playing games for AEK, and he looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Look. Bukhalakis is a Olympiakos asset in a way. So, like, okay, yeah, maybe you like the representation there, but still, like, for me, there's talent still to be looked at. We know what we get from Bukhalakis. Martins made it work for a while. It hasn't worked since then, and I don't know the context that it will continue to work. Move on to the next thing. Galanopoulos looks the goods. Siopis is Siopis. He occupies a good niche for the national team. So, anyway, it's one of those things. Now, with respect to the MLS, the one thing I'll give Funtas was DC United were the worst team in the league last season, and he was still putting up a ton of goals. He had one of the highest goal per 90 averages when joining the league. So that's one thing I will give him, regardless of the fact that I agree with you. I think the MLS, for me, I can't even watch the games. It's absolute dog shit for me too. Yeah, I mean, maybe that changes. There's a lot more money coming to the MLS now with the Apple deal, so they'll be able to afford to bring better players. You're already seeing a lot of players getting much higher wages coming in. They're attracting better talent out of South America now, which is drawing away from Europe. So we'll see. I think things will step up in the next few years, especially since they might be a part of Libertadores soon as well. We'll see how that goes, but otherwise, I agree with you, and I still disagree completely with Douvikas. I don't understand why he's not a choice.
And I'm going to say this as well. I mentioned that in our private chats. Kostas Tsimikas looks set to be awarded with a new contract at Liverpool until 2027. I mean, it sounds great, a Greek player not only playing for one of the best Premier League teams, but also being rewarded with a new contract. And that's great, I mean, I love that, not just because he played for Olympiacos, but he's a Greek player. I really like that. But it's obvious that his role is the second left back. He's behind Andy Robertson, one of the best left backs in the world, if not the best. I've said this on Twitter. In my opinion, I'm against it. I think Tsimikas needs to leave Liverpool. not leave Liverpool, just join a good team in which you can play as a starter, whether that's in the Premier League, in Germany, in Italy. I do hope Costas is not simply penning a new contract with Liverpool. I hope there's been a few chats with the hierarchy and Jurgen Klopp, who we can all assume he's going to be the manager for a very long time. I doubt he would ever like to take the Germany job right now, at least. Andy Robertson is 29 and his contract runs out in 2026. So I hope there's been a chat in the region of, okay, listen, I did my part, I played my role, I helped the team, I never complained, but I'm not getting any younger. I am ambitious. I want to do things. I want to play a key role in this team. So I do want to take Andy's place at some point. And I do want a few guarantees about my minutes right now. Because, we're talking 4 years. We're talking about him spending 4 more years of his life, which in football terms, that's 4 years for footballers could be a lifetime. So I do hope there's been a few discussions, because the Ethniki is languishing because of Tsimikas' lack of minutes and lack of momentum. And it showed against the Netherlands. In a match where we really needed the good Tsimikas, he was a shadow of himself. And that's because he doesn't play. He doesn't play for Liverpool.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Costa. And I think at this point, we've said everything that needs to be said really about the national team. I think it's a good time for us to go ahead and move on over to things for Olympiacos. I just started
Absolutely.
a poll. That I want you guys to go ahead and take a look at and vote on the poll. We want to see what your decisions are, what your opinion is so far on the business that's been done, and we want to know how you think our transfer business for the summer has been. And do you agree with everything? Are you happy with all the moves that are made? Because we're going to go through it. Now, technically, the deadline for Greece for transfers, that will end tomorrow on Monday. And there is a free agent window, of course, that'll end. I think that's the 15th, Costa. And, so we could still make signings. But we had a fun little interaction with Karapapas. And there was a rumor from the Athletic, from out of Nottingham Forest. There was a rumor about Biancone, center back who can play
Julian
both fullbacks.
Biancone, yeah.
And the Athletic said that it was pretty much 100% sure that he was coming to Greece on Monday. So we saw the information, we shared the information, and then literally within 15 minutes of that tweet going out, there was an Instagram story by Kostas Karapapas that we shared also on Twitter. You can see it there, that pretty much business is done. And he was actually making fun of some other journalists that were saying that there were already deals done for January. And yeah, so it makes it seem like the business is done, because he pretty much said, look, let the team be, let them do their work and do what needs to be done. So I think it's safe for us to go ahead and discuss the business that's been done. And guys, don't forget to vote in that poll. And Costa, I wanted to get your thoughts on what you believe, your opinion rather, on the business that's been done. Are you happy? Can you give it a grade, like A through F? Like, what would you grade our transfer business with Cordon this summer?
Obviously, I mean, we were talking about this throughout the summer. It took a while. It took a minute to bring in, to make some important signings.
Yes.
Who was our best signing? I'll tell you who was our best signing. Antonio Cordon. He was the best signing by far, our MVP. I said it when we signed him on the group chat. I told you guys, this is our best signing right here. The man who built Villarreal out of nothing, led them to European glory. He led them to second place in La Liga, which is their best ever finish. He knows his stuff. Vangelis Marinakis has also structured this really, really well, in the sense that Cordon became his undisputed number 2. Everyone else was below him. And I do mean everyone else was below him. It was Vangelis Marinakis, Antonio Cordon, everyone else. Basically, based on my sources, the only deal that Well, Antonio Cordon took part in all of the deals. Obviously, Daniel Podense was Marinakis' signing, but Cordon was not against it. Based on what I know, he was not against it. So they let the man work. They let the man cook, as we say here at Gate 7 International. And it seems like those signings are very much in tune with what the new manager wants, Diego Martinez. The likes of Ibora, the likes of Kini, they got a lot of flack when they joined. And especially the latter, Kini, proved to be an absolute necessity in the way that Diego Martinez wants to play. I mean, we could see a lot of things from this guy. He could even be our starting left back this season. He could actually take that mantle based on what we've seen so far. I gotta say, Ari, like obviously Olympiacos should have the best attack in Greece. They should they should dominate up front. We should see that in Europe. This should show against Freiburg, Batska, Topola, and West Ham. But I am worried about defense, Ari, and I do want your opinion on this, because Retsos has been on absolute fire. I never doubted Panos Retsos' talent. I knew with the right manager and the right preseason he would be flying, just like he did on his first stint. But he's injury prone.
Yeah.
So if Retsos gets injured, then what?
That's it. No. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And Costa, we had that one question up from Alex Hadzis asking about how we feel about some of the transfers from Cordon and that relationship with Marinakis, and is that something that'll bring clouds over? Just to be very specific, because Costa just kind of touched on that already about the relationship. Right now, look, guys, we all know the reputation that Marinaki has. He's a fan. He's as much of a fan and as passionate about Olympiacos as the rest of us, and he owns the club. So imagine that. And right now, it's a short leash, obviously, but he is giving control to Cordon. He realized what they did last year didn't work, and something proper needed to be done. Did it need to be done earlier? Yeah, but you know what? It got done. Nobody wanted to take the job. This guy took the job. Diego Martinez was brought in, and a lot of stuff had to get done. And there's a comment here from Aris Galamatis. For the poll, there's too many players in again and not enough permanently out. The roster is still bloated. And I understand what you're saying there, but let's compare this to what we had last year. We couldn't move shit last year. We couldn't move anybody out. You want to know our business last year? Here was our business last year. We sold Ruben Semedo.
Yeah.
We sold Ruben Semedo. That was it. It was either that or free transfers and players that were cut. Like, forget the guys during the season that were cut, like Marcelo. And forget Vachlik being forgotten about because of Paskalakis doing well. Kenny Lala, Leonardo Kutris, Chumich, Yanis Masuras. All these guys, like, we didn't get money for any of them. It was free transfer, loan. That's all we did last year. Now, compare that to this year. We did a post about the money and all the business that was done, all the signings that went out this past year. And I have the entire list up in front of me. Over 20 million euros we made this year. We did not make a fraction of that last season. We made over 20 million euros this season. Now, that's we're comparing a disaster season to a full rebuild, but still, like, we moved players and we had to deal with disaster scenarios. The whole Huang situation, nobody envisioned that would happen. Nobody wanted that to happen. Going into the season, he was the one player we were excited about to have during a rebuild. And that whole situation went to shit, whether it was the result of his agent doing whatever he did, whatever the case was, it doesn't matter. That was a terrible situation to add a cherry onto the shit cake that was this transfer window. So that being said, the number of departures that we had, all inclusive, the number of sales that were made, we still got money from Inbam Huang. We got 6 million, and we still could get another 1.5 from Oleg Rybchuk. That's insane business. We finally got rid of Onyekuru, 3.5. That's about what we paid for him. Zinkernagel, we made 2.5. We paid 2 for Zinkernagel. We got 1 million off of Kane, who saw the field twice for us. Who cares? We moved Bukhalakis. We got money for Bukhalakis. Think about that. Ridiculous. We got some money for Bututsi, who came in for next to nothing. So we've moved a lot of people on. Yes, we still have to get rid of Kunde. We still have Cisse sitting there. We still have Lazar Radejevic, who technically we got money from the year before too. So that being said, I think the business has been about as good as it can be. If we can move on Kunde Cisse, get some money for them, I don't care. And Lazar Radejevic, then this is good. Remember, Costa said it in many shows. I've said it. Other Costa said it. This is not a 1-year project. This is at least
Yep.
a 2-year project. All of the
Preach.
hard shit has to be shoveled out now. And then with some of the money we made, we have some success this year. We then can build on that and really see what this team's about the coming year. But all that being said, for the time that we've had and what we've seen, you can't ask for more. It's as perfect as it gets considering the situation.
It was
So,
way too good for considering the situation. Way too good considering the situation, if I may.
and with bringing that into the CB discussion, Costa, if I had to, if I had to give a grade for the transfer window, I would give this transfer window, uh, again, all things considered, I would give it an A minus. The
Hmm.
reason I have a minus instead of an A is because like you already brought up before, I think we're weak at center back. I wanted a much better name for center back. We are so lucky that Retsos isn't hurt and that he had the lovely preseason that he had and he's become a star. Because if Retsos had defaulted to what we saw at the end of last season, this would be a tragedy and it would undo the project just because of how poor the center backs are. And and it's not that Frere is garbage. I'm not going to say that. He's not a garbage center back. But is he great? No, not from what I've seen so far. And some of the stuff that I worry about is the stuff I saw in the scouting report. That's what I worry about with Frere. Jackson Porozzo is a talent. He's 20 years
Yeah.
old. He look. There's a lot of good qualities, characteristics about the player, but he's not there yet. And then the problem is you only have Ndoye. Okay,
Hmm.
so and does Doy really make anybody feel good when he's playing center back right now? No. He's aggressive?
But clean sheets in every match he played with Red Sox. In all of our 3 matches in Greece, clean sheets in all 3 of them.
You are 100% right. All I'm saying is that Doy can get caught forward. He's not a pure center back, and there's a reason why he's not going to be first choice alongside unless Frere is hurt, unless Retos gets hurt. I'm not going to see that. We're not going to see that pairing a lot. So for me, the fact and Doy wasn't even on the list for Europe that was submitted.
He was
So
as a developmental
exactly, he's on the
talent.
B.
So
He's on the
he
B
is in the list actually.
B
Yeah.
list.
So Yorgo Yatru, yeah, he is in the list.
He's B list. You're right, because technically he
Yeah.
still counts as that. He's
Yeah.
young enough.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could see here, if we don't sell Cisse, and then again, this is assuming that there's no bad blood. Assuming we don't sell Cisse, we do have another option to carry us through the season. But I don't know how that situation is going to be. I don't know. I honestly don't believe Cisse has any part in this club anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
So
He doesn't.
normally I'd say that's an option, but I'm not sure. And so that's why I gave it an A minus, because center back is the only part of this area, of the only part of the roster where I am not 100%. Everywhere else, I feel like if you take a look back to last year to this year, oh my God, we've got quality everywhere. Like even now with Jovetic. All right, El Kabi, not really. I'm not really so excited about him. El Arabi on the downturn. We've got Al Ghassim Ba in the wings, and Jovetic, his international break looked good enough for me. So everywhere else,
Shall
it's
we
great.
shall we explain what Jovetic did? First game of the international break against Lithuania, provided an assist. Today against Bulgaria, he hit the post and he scored the big goal on the 6th minute that led to a 2-1 win for Montenegro that could push them to the Euros. So guys, I'm telling you, I understand why there's so much doubt on Jovetic, but if he's healthy, he's going to make a lot of people eat those words raw and stone cold. That's who Stefan Jovetic is.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm hoping. He can assist and build up. He can play very well as a false nine, which Diego Martinez doesn't necessarily use. But maybe the fact that he has that ability will assist us in build up, and we'll see great things. I don't know, but we have options. We have a lot of versatility, and that part I'm excited about. We have great quality on the bench. I'm excited about a lot of these players, and we look good. Like that's the thing. Last year, there weren't a lot of games where we actually looked like a team that could function together. In these games we played, especially in Greece, we looked like a functioning unit.
Hmm.
Genk was our first two official games as a team, and we didn't even have all the pieces we have now. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. We have our first real test, in my opinion. The first big test is coming up on Sunday, and that's going to be
Hmm.
against AEK. I'm excited for that. We'll see because that's a real litmus test. AEK, they haven't looked like the AEK of last year, in my opinion.
I told
They,
you. I told you on the
and you're
show,
right.
a bubble waiting to burst. That's who they are.
And you are right. They haven't made as many signings as I think they need to make. They are very vulnerable at the back. Very vulnerable at the back. So I would love to see how we match up now because this is an Ike team that hasn't looked so good to start the season. And we have an Olympiacos that is on the uptick. As far as I'm concerned, having seen everybody play of the top teams, of course, for me, the way we're playing, we are the best team in Greece. Even with Panathinaikos playing how they played in Europe, we are playing the best football right now.
And we haven't seen a lot of our signings. We haven't seen Potense, we haven't seen Solbakken, we haven't seen Jovetic yet.
Yep, not at all. So I'm excited about that. I'm definitely 100% excited about that. Costa, I do want to hear
Yeah, let's.
your grade for the transfer window, and what you think.
Well, I mean, as always, you made some amazing points. I'm in the region of B plus to A minus. Same as you, I'm a little worried about the center back situation. You said it all there, nothing else to add. But also, like when it comes to attack, I mean, obviously there's a lot of depth. But how do you fit all of them to your starting lineup and keep them happy? Because I'm thinking to myself, we see a lot of 4-2-3-1. So Solbakken on the right, Potense on the left, Fortunis in the hole, Jovetic up front. But then Pepiel is, for me, Pepiel is too good for the bench, man. How do you keep them happy? How do you keep all of those brilliant attacking players happy?
All I can say is this is a good problem to have. I'd rather have
Yeah.
this problem than the problem of last year where we're like, we have three tens that can't play wide and they all are on top of each other. We can't score goals. We can't create opportunities. I would rather have this problem because look at all. I mean, we have Podense back, and I put out and Masuras, who right
And
now is on
Masuras,
fire.
yeah, he's
So
absolutely
you're
right,
absolutely
George.
right.
I'm sorry, George. I'm sorry, George. But see what the problem is, though.
Yeah, but this is a good problem to have because there's a lot of competition and you need competition to make this work. Now, is that going to, create some bad feelings with some players? Undoubtedly. And that's going to have to be managed from by Diego Martinez. He's going to have to manage that. But at the same time, players are going to have to play. This is cutthroat. This is the players, the mentality that's being brought into this club is you have to fight. You're not just fighting to be on the pitch. You're fighting on the pitch. You're fighting in every aspect. You're fighting in training. You're fighting for everything. This is a mentality. There's no more loser mentality here. Nothing like last year. There's winners and fighters mentalities on this team. So everybody's going to have to work their asses off to get a shot. Everybody's going to have to work their asses off to stay on the field, and everyone has to work their ass off to win.
Yeah.
This is a better problem, in my opinion, to have than what we had last year. Too many complacent players that are expecting things. No, absolutely not. I want no part of that. I'd rather have guys like Podense, who we know is a hard worker. Podense busts his butt. Say what you want about whether or not he offers something. I disagree with everybody that thought he wasn't great in his first time here. I put the stats out. He was the best in Greece, 90th percentile, 100th percentile. And up until this past season, he was the most he was the best progressive actor in England. Maybe not the best, but one of the best in terms of progressive attacks, both progressive passes, progressive attacks. So I am happy that we have so much to offer at so many positions with so many different looks. And not just that, this isn't the first time that Diego Martinez in his career has done something like this. Every team he coaches, he's got a whole plethora of options, diverse options that can play in different types because he's going to adjust. Watch when we play Ike. We'll probably see a different system than we have seen so far against Kukarichka, against Lamia, against Atromitos, and against Panserikos. We're probably going to see a completely different scheme because he changes constantly. He's not a typical manager. It's just, this is my formation and this is what I do. No. Every match, it's going to be something different, especially against better teams. He's going to adjust his tactics. And it's great for him to have versatile players and different types of players to be able to accommodate this type of thing.
What about the midfield, though? Because Ike overwhelmed Olympiacos in all matches in midfield because of the diamond formation. How do you see Olympiacos tackling this? Maybe a 4-3-3, a 4-2-3-1, where you see the wingers helping the midfielders in Mati Camara and Santiago Eze. How do you tackle that this season?
So I will say, where we saw Huang and Baum get a little more exposed was against Ike or teams in this respect. Huang and Baum was a genius in possession. He did so many great things for us when he had the ball, could turn the game around more or less by himself. But defensively, anytime we played against Ike or anytime we played against a team that had a functioning offense, he would look lost or isolated completely. And that's what Ike's diamond did to us. It just completely isolated him and it completely hung us out to dry. This midfield is a different sauce than what we had last year because Madi is better defensively than Inbom Huang. And Madi, as we know, when he's on his day, is incredible, can turn a game around also in a different way than Inbom Huang, but in his own way. We also have, and what you guys were beginning to see, Santiago Eze. Now, he's a younger guy. He still needs some time to gel, but you guys started to see
he's already really good.
The parts about forget the fact that he has just a very clean touch. You saw the defensive part of what he can do, anticipating things, how he anticipates. And the better the understanding he gets with his partners, the better he will be in that respect. We have more mobile pieces in the midfield. Before, when we were going up against Ike, we had Jan and Villa, who is, I like the guy. I respect him so much as a footballer, and he was a great distributor of the ball, but he wasn't the most mobile. Bukhalakis, same thing. And then I already brought up the weaknesses about Inbom Huang. It's a completely different thing, different animal that we have right now. I see comments, people are talking about Ibora. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ibora start because he's a veteran with that mentality. But we have more mobile pieces. We have a lot more fighters on this team than we did last year. And we're playing a lot better ball than we did before. And as for the other areas of the field, we've got two fullbacks that overlap now.
Absolutely.
Don't forget, guys, when did Rodinei come in? Rodinei hasn't been here a year. So Rodinei is been in the team for a while, and we now have another person on the other side in Francisco Ortega, who just joining, of course. We've got a lot of overlapping ability. We can now apply pressure that we couldn't apply last year. So we have a lot more things in our arsenal than we did to fight back against Ike this year. And that's something we can be excited about.
Yeah, but I mean, first game for signings like Solbakken, like Jovetic, like maybe Omar Richards. It's quite the baptism by fire right there, because you're not giving them a couple of games against the Lamias and the Atromitos to find their pace. They're facing against a favorite to win the league. Whoever wins this game, if we have a winner at Nea Philadelphia, they're the ones who are going to set the tone this season.
Yeah. And how
do you ease Solbakken and Potense and Jovetic in this game? Do you start them? Do you even start them?
Well, Potense is the one that I don't think you have to worry about. He's been in this situation before. He's already played in it. He knows. he's got the experience already. Plus, he's just coming back from the Premier League, and I'm not worried about Podense. The other guys, yeah, maybe you don't start. Maybe you don't start them. Maybe Hesse, you take it a little bit slower for. Maybe you leave El Kabi on the bench. See, I wouldn't do that though either because I want his effort. For Ike, I
Yeah.
want somebody pressing the ball.
I
Maybe I
like
don't.
El Kabi for that game to start.
And
He could score
yeah,
as well.
maybe. I want him in that game to be pressing. I want him pressing. I want that defensive work rate from him. In that game at least. Of course, Masuras, you can't not play Masuras now. He's on fire. He presses, you know that as well. Madi has to play in this game. You know, the question for me is whether or not I want to blood Hesse. Another question will be Ortega. Am I going to trust Ortega, who we saw get a little bit too far forward in his debut with us, or I guess in those minutes that he got already? I don't know. Now Solbakken, I'm that's another tough one. I don't know if I start him at all. I stick with probably Fortunis and Masuras, to be honest with you. Even though that kind of seems a little bit one-dimensional, I'm starting with those two. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm not taking too many risks in a derby. I'm going with the guys that I know what it's like to be in a derby. I'm playing the guys that are running their butts off, giving me that advantage on the press, giving me the advantage on the defensive side of the ball, because that's what we need. Then I'm blooding other guys depending how things go.
What about this Collins guy that Ike brought in? Because that was the thing. Ike needed a center back since day one, and they left it for the very last minute. I don't know if Collins will be ready for this game. I can see Vida and Mukundi starting. But do we know anything about him? I don't know anything about him.
I'll be honest with you. I don't, and I haven't done any homework yet because I haven't really spent any time analyzing Ike. I do plan on doing that for sure. And one other thing quickly, while we're sitting here at about 47 minutes in, a lot of people passing through the show already. Looks like well over 100 of you have already passed through. Don't forget, boys and girls, hit that like button. Like and subscribe. Help us find more Olympiacos fans around the world. And another thing I'm doing for the AEK Olympiacos game, no matter what happens, I will be doing the enhanced analysis, which will be available on Patreon. So I will be, as it leads up to the game, analyzing AEK, looking at what's going on with them. But you're absolutely right. They have been running this back line with Vida and Mukudi, and I'll be honest with you, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. And that's what kind of gives me a little bit more hope that we can do something. Now, if Madalos got a red card in the last game.
Yeah, he can't play with Olympiacos.
So, yeah, I don't think he'll be able to play. Not that that's that big of a loss, to be honest with you. And then don't forget, their starting right back right now is Lazaros Rota. So they don't exactly look amazing there either. On the left back, against Volos, they played with Haji Safi. So I don't know how. And then they have Europe to think about too. So
very tough group.
It's going to be very tough for them. They have a lot of decisions that are going to be made. But if they're sticking with Vida and Mukudi because Calms isn't ready, I like that. And that's going to be where the vulnerability is, and that's where we're going to have to attack.
And I said in the show quite a few times, last season, their source of strength came from Hagia Sophia. The fact that they were unbeaten. Nobody shall pass. This is the castle. Nobody can go through until Olympiacos beat them. But even after Olympiacos beat them, they didn't crumble. That was their only loss last season at home. But this season, they've played 3 home matches across all competitions, 0 victory in those home matches. And it does seem like their confidence is a little hurt right there, because you look at teams like Dinamo Zagreb, you look at Panseraikos, you look at Antwerp. None of them are world beaters. It's not like they brought Real Madrid in there.
No,
it's not the same. It's not the same. They're missing that. That home field advantage that they felt.
Yes, that, and then don't forget, it's not 100% sure that Levi Garcia will be ready for this match either. So. And Levi Garcia is such a huge part of them. such a huge part of their team and their goal contributions. Not that they don't play well without him, but still, not having Levi Garcia is huge. Um, uh, Costa, I think we need to address this Carvalho thing because people
Yeah,
keep
let's do it.
talking about Carvalho. George Yatru Carvalho really needed to go. He's dead weight. Alis Galamatis, he's in the Europa list, while Brinic is not. Chris T.
Hmm.
Carvalho does not belong to this team. I'm in agreement with all of you. Carvalho is a preseason hero. He looks great in preseason, but then like when the real stuff comes, he's just he takes two steps back. I don't know what it is. We have heard that he trains well,
Hmm.
and a lot of coaches, if you train well, that means a lot. So that's what I got.
Well, I met Joao Carvalho last year. He's a really nice guy. Bit shy, but
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing being shy. He's a really nice guy though. The way I see it, I think he fits into Diego Martinez's idea of turning his formation into a 4-4-2, 4-4-3-3 kind of thing. That's why he's being used. But as for Brinic, I'm also disappointed
Yeah, me too.
because he looks like like a very promising promising young player, and it just brings back memories of all the other promising young players Olympiacos brought in, and they went nowhere. So that brings bad memories. I'd like to think that at least this time with Cordon and Diego Martinez in charge, it's going to be different. That this time it's really about investment and patience and waiting this out and preparing him for next season, grooming him for next season, like it happened with Kostas Zolakis. So yeah, it doesn't look good based on history and precedent, but it's a new day. Like we said, Cordon is the boss, guys. He's the boss right now. So and he has a rich track record of turning young players into global stars. So let's see.
Yeah, and here's the one silver lining, or I'll say the caveat with Ivan Brinic, and it's it's a couple of things. First of all, the only explanation that I can find for why, I should say, the only explanation that I can think of as for why Brinic would be left off the European list for Carvalho is that Carvalho can also play as a deeper midfielder.
Yeah.
And we right now are not the most deep in that position, let's be honest. Not just in terms of the position as a whole with midfielders, but in terms of playmaking. Like once you lose Madi, you don't have a deep lying playmaker anymore. You don't. Carvalho, in a way, can do that. We saw it in preseason. We've seen it in the past. Not that I think it's really the best use of his talents, but look, that's probably why he was included. The silver lining with Brinic is one, the only reason he was left off the list is because we got Podense. If we don't get Podense, he's on the list. Two, he just turned 22. He turned 22 August 23rd. So he signed a 4-year contract with us. He may or may not go out on loan. I expect he'll stay, maybe play some games in Greece. Depending how he does, he can always join the list again in the winter. But I'm not super upset about how that part about Brinic for now,
Yeah.
because I think he's a younger guy, and I'm not super worried about it. This is a good comment from Aris Galamatis. Says at Ari, we don't have an Orbaiz or Envila by Cordon and Martinez choice, I assume. Yeah, well, yeah. I
Well, what
would
about
say
Eze? What about Ibora? Those two number
so.
sixes. They were both Cordon and Martinez.
Well, I think he means in that mold, and Ibora's not that mold. But Hesse is, from what we've seen, and he's only 21. From what we've seen, it's not him. But can he develop into that? He has the talent. But that like what he's talking about, what Aris Galamatis is talking about, like what Mari has, what Orbaiz had, what Invila could do. That type of vision, the stuff that Huang and Baum can do, you can't. I don't think you can teach that, in my opinion. that's something where you either have that vision, that um what's the word I'm looking for, Costa? Anyway,
Mentality,
it's not
character.
mentality. It's no, maybe it is just vision. It's just like the way they see the field, the way Jan and Vila could see the field, and just put it wherever he want. That kind of thing. It Heze, I think if anybody else has the talent to do it, he can do it. But right now after Madi, you don't have any other creative deep mids. That's it, plain and simple. Heze would be your only hope that he can do that. I,
Well, the
I like
thing,
I like that. The artist. I like that.
the artist. Well, the thing is that this podcast does have a keyword, and that's called Hell Week. Two keywords. If you put them together, it becomes one. And that is because Olympiacos also have Freiburg on Thursday,
Yeah.
this coming Thursday. That's the team that spanked Olympiacos at the Georgios Karaiskakis 3-0 and basically got a point, and they could have won if it wasn't for Paschalakis' heroics. So it is interesting to wonder, how is Diego Martinez gonna, or maybe not, because then again, maybe Diego Martinez will choose to hold back on the likes of Solbakken and Jovetic and maybe Podense to play them against Freiburg. It is very interesting to see how he's going to address that, because Olympiacos will go hard in the Europa League this season. They do want to go through. The Conference League is not good enough, especially with that squad. But then again, you gotta beat AEK. You gotta beat AEK to set the tempo. It's very interesting to see what happens. But I'll tell you this: if Olympiacos somehow manage to beat both AEK and Freiburg, we're in for something. If they do that, I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna say we're gonna see something extremely special this season.
Oh
Extremely
yeah.
special.
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? If we beat Ike and then beat Freiburg in that same sequence, oh my goodness. You're looking at just an upswing in all facets of everything in Olympiacos in terms of roster value, player values, the high from the mentality of the club. Everybody's going to be extremely motivated. Everybody's going to be in that headspace. That would be magical if that was the case. So, but one game at a time. We look at Ike.
Exactly.
Let's just focus on that, see what happens, and then we move to Freiburg after that, regardless what happens. Honestly, I wouldn't be upset, and people might get upset with me for saying this. If as long as we play well against Ike, and even if we lose, but we're like the dominant force, I'm still that's still good for me, because you know what? Maybe we lost that, but the fact that the team was playing great and not playing like crap, that's a different story. It kind of makes me think of, when we beat Ike in Hagia Sophia, right? But we really got three great like counter opportunities and we scored those goals, but Ike was on us the whole game, nonstop. That's the kind
Yep.
of thing that like I'm talking about. Like if we were on the other end of that, would it suck to lose? Yes, but if we're the dominant force, I know that when we meet Ike the next 5 times during the season, that we're probably going to beat them three more times. The other 4 times out of the season. That's what I mean by that. So
Of course. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up because it is very late and we got to bounce. Obviously, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and help the channel grow. It really, really helps us to bring you even more exciting things. Join us on Patreon, where you're going to be getting a lot of cool and exclusive material. We have the interview coming up, Ari. Anything else you can tell the fans about the interview?
So the one thing about the interview is it will be done in Spanish. I had to do all the questions in Spanish, because he doesn't speak Spanish, or he doesn't speak English. He only speaks Spanish. We will translate into English and into Greek, and then from that we will let the auto translate from YouTube do the rest of its thing for the other languages. So it will be something. And again, this is going to be available on Patreon. So for the patrons, and for anybody that's interested, you can join us on Patreon. You'll be able to see it there. And we're really excited for that interview. A lot of great insights you can get from a former president of a club. We're really excited to learn a lot of stuff from him. And then big shout out to Costa, because it is now like 2:30 in the morning in Greece. He's a trooper doing this Sunday night at 2:30. So Costa, you're a legend.
No, well, the thing is, you're a legend, Ari. Same for Costas with the C, and Marcial and Labros. The truth is, like, I've lost touch, I've lost contact. A lot of things happened, and I really missed you guys. You're going to be seeing a lot more of me. I promise you guys, because I love this. I love you. I love this initiative. I love our crowd. And guys, I'm going to be giving you my all. This season is going to be amazing, both in and off the pitch.
Fantastic. Well, boys, there you have it. This is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. And we will see you all next time.
Gatima!